I was speaking at an investor seminar in Fort Lauderdale, and when I came off the stage, one of the investors caught me and he pulled me aside. He said, "I want to tell you a story." And he said, many years ago, he said, I had a buddy that went to work for a brokerage house selling stocks in pre-IPO companies, early stage companies. And he said, he called me one day and he's like, "Hey man, you got to get in on this stock. This is an exciting opportunity. Looked like this company's doing something really neat." And he's like, "Well, what do they do?" And he said, "Well, I think they do something with computers or something. I don't completely understand it, but it sounds really interesting, some kind of a technology company." And he's like, "Well, what's the name of the company?" And he said, "It's called Microsoft." And so he said, I didn't know what it was, didn't know who they were, didn't know anything about the industry, didn't know. So he said, I passed on the investment. He said, of course, many years later, he said, I saw Microsoft go public and the stock go boom, 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 boom. And it was a lost opportunity. So he said, but funny story was, same friend, same company working for the brokerage house calls me later and he says, "Hey man, we got a new opportunity. You got to get in on this thing. It's exciting. This business, they're in the hamburger business. They're growing rapidly. Opportunity to buy into these things." And he says, "What's it called?" And he said, "Wendy's Hamburgers." And he said, passed on it. And he said, now every time I see either of those companies in the news, I'm always like, "Oh, dadgummit, I missed out." And so I had talked about on stage missed opportunities, the fact that once something's passed you by, especially when you think about stocks or investment opportunities, but it could be a business that comes your way, it could be a relationship that comes your way, but it's the idea that you can't go back and change those things. But especially whenever you're looking at an investment that's coming down the pipeline, the best time and the best opportunity is going to be to get in as early as possible while either they're paying the highest rate of return or while their stock is at a low price where there's a big curve opportunity for growth. And the problem is that people fail to realize is that there is a cost not only to taking advantage of things, so you got to figure out what you're going to invest or what you're going to pay for a product or a service, but there's a cost to not taking action. And if you look at, like I talk to a lot of business owners about lead generation for their companies. It's what Harbor City's Digital Ventures team does. And for every day that goes by that they don't make a decision and actually take the step of investing in their business to generate more clients, more leads, that's lost opportunity. You have to add up. For example, if you knew that a campaign was going to bring in 100 new customers a month and every one of those customers is worth $5,000 over their lifetime, well, that's $500,000 worth of value. And for every month that goes by, that's $500,000 down the drain. So it's not just about the checks you write and the credit cards you swipe. It's about the decisions that you delay and don't make and what they end up costing you. And so I always talk to people about the fact that find some mechanism that allows you to make decisions. Make decisions as quickly as possible rather than dawdling on it, because once that opportunity is gone, you can't go back and fix it. You can't push the water back up the waterfall, as my mentor used to say. You can't go back and redo those things that are already past. And so if you're trying to figure out, what am I going to do for my business? What kind of an investment am I going to make in my own business to be able to generate more leads, get more customers in the door? Then it's time to sit down either by yourself on a whiteboard, sit down with your team, sit down with a mentor or a coach or a consultant or someone that you trust and walk through a decision-making process. But the preacher who started the Crystal Cathedral, he wrote a bunch of books, and one of them was Tough Times Never Last, but Tough People Do, and a variety of different books like that. The Power of Positivity, The Power of Possibility Thinking was the book he wrote. And one of the things that he talked about was when you're trying to make a decision, draw a line down the center of a piece of paper, and on one side write down all the reasons why this is a bad idea or what could go wrong, all the downsides of it, and on the other side of the piece of paper write down all of the upsides to it. And even something like that is finding a way to make decisions. Here's what I found about successful people. Successful people make decisions quickly and change them rarely. Failures or unsuccessful people take forever to make a decision and then change their mind frequently. They're always changing and going in a new direction. And it's the successful people that realize and recognize an opportunity and say, this is for me, but I need to do some due diligence. I need to figure out, does this make sense for me? So if it's an investment opportunity, do your due diligence. If it's buying a business or doing something in business, do your due diligence, do your background, look at everything and figure out, but do it as quickly as possible, because every day that you delay is going to cost you money in the long time. And that's what I call the high cost of missed opportunities. Related to that is that the faster you write down all of those things and look at the facts, the faster you can move forward. But I think most people don't take those steps and go through the process for fear. They're afraid of making the wrong decision, so they make no decision at all. And when you don't make any decision, then you don't move forward, and you have a string of lost opportunities in your life.